Happy Monday, volleyball fans. Welcome back to the NVA's Quest for the Cup mini-series. Today, on episode 3, we're going to take a deep dive into New Jersey's Team Freedom. I got a chance to sit down with general manager and team owner Justin Beaumont. Take a look. Hey guys, I am joined today by Justin Beaumont. We are going coast to coast where the East Coast meets the West Coast, making it happen. Justin, thank you so much for joining me today. Can't wait to talk a little bit more about Team Freedom and find out what you guys are all about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So I got to know, when most people in the US think adult pro teams or high-level volleyball, if they've been paying attention to the adult scene for the better part of the last decade, they know Team Freedom. What's that like, and how did you guys transition into the NVA?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I think it's just a culmination of years and years of a bunch of Jersey boys playing together, growing up together, being on the beach scene together out in the East. Believe it or not, there's a beach scene on the East Coast. And, you know, eventually starting to just get to a higher level. Some guys graduating from college, adding them. And, you know, by about 2016, 17, we started formulating originally what was Team Jiva, which is a PVL team, which I was the general manager for. And we did some really cool things. We went to nationals that year and we took a third. We lost to Pineapple in 5, you know, and I think that was really where we started to like mold and become what is now Team Freedom. And the better part of our roster has been together since then. You know, we've gotten guys to stick around, and I feel so lucky because these guys get after it, and they're starting their lives. They're getting married, they're getting houses, they're having kids, and they're still playing volleyball for Team Freedom. So I'm super lucky. But yeah, that's a great question. It's at least 5 or 6 years at this point.
Well, and so you mentioned so many of these guys stick around. I mean, that speaks to, I think, who you are as the owner, the general manager of this team. But what is the team culture? What allows that to be so successful? What's it kind of like, you know, behind the scenes for Team Freedom?
I love that question. And actually, I wish my head coach, Carlo Edger, was here because he does a fantastic job with this. We never really get rattled. Guys have days where they're not playing great, and we look at each other and we say, hey, you know, it's okay. As fundamental as it is for a 12-year-old juniors player is what we do at Team Freedom. You know, like, you're going to have a bad day. That's why we got other guys. But I think the most important, cultural element that I would bring up is we still get in the gym and practice. We still get after it. These guys are grown men, you know, some of them in their late 20s, early 30s. They wouldn't want me to tell you guys that, but they're still listening to coaching. They're still embracing what we're giving to them. And that was something that as a younger, you know, GM and leader of the team, I had to figure out that they were going to be okay with. You know, I didn't know that Matt Seifert at 6'11" was going to listen to me when I told him, hey, let's spread those arms a little bit, big fella. We're not taking enough court space away. You know, the first time I said that to him, I think I was more like, oh no, what's going to happen here? And then he was like, absolutely, got it. Thanks, Jay. And that response has come from guys like Chris Vaughn, Matt Elias, Josh Castillo, Mikhail Hoyt, who we've nicknamed Zebra. Probably most of the volleyball community knows him as such. These guys they're friends of mine. I've been around them forever. I've watched them grow up and play volleyball, and they're still embracing our coaching. So that culture is so important. And I would recommend that to be at every high-level gym. Have guys on your roster that are willing to work hard and still embrace coaching and getting better. Because if they already decided that they're good, they're not going to get better. So I love having that with our guys. And Carlo does a really good job at staying calm, cool, and collect, and really analyzing with those guys, for sure.
It makes a lot of sense. And I mean, you're describing really the perfect family situation, but also one that keeps people competitive. I've got to know, is there any names that might be joining the family that you might be able to leak, or what? You're coming off of a 4th place in Utah. So obviously everyone's always chasing first. So if I'm not being too presumptuous, you know, 4th isn't good enough. You guys had a great showing, but you know, I know you guys had some tryouts. What was the change like? How'd you guys handle the offseason?
That's a good question. I think I would have to talk to Carlo about name dropping. he might be really upset if I name drop, but we did have a great finish in Utah, in my opinion. I think, we went out there with little to no expectations, and we don't do that because we're pessimistic. I think we do that because we're realistic. Hey, this is our first NBA event. We played in Atlantic City last year. We were part of the program and the league, but hey, this is a real thing now. Let's go out there and see what we need to improve on. Let's see what we've been doing, if it's working. So as far as improvements, as soon as we got home from Utah on that Monday, I'm already calling Carlo going, how do we get better?
Mm-hmm.
We're watching film. I got the film on in my car while I'm sitting in traffic, going into New York City. I'm, constantly trying to figure out ways where we can get better. How do we make more money? How do we get our guys more money? How do we, fundraise? But as far as personnel and increases in, talent, we just had a tryout in January. We had 48 guys show up.
Wow.
It was a good turnout. And, with a team as established as us, that's a very surprising number. Because most people are like, oh, they have their roster ready. They have their squad. What are we going there for? But these guys in this area come out every year, and shout out to everybody who came to our tryout, because we love that you guys show up and compete against our guys. We need our guys to get checked. We need our guys to know that their spot is up for the taking.
Absolutely.
In that sense, we want everyone to be able to play on our team. We don't just pick our friends. We pick who can get it done.
Mm-hmm.
So we did. The only freebie I'll give the league here is we did pick up a guy from another team that was out in Utah. That's going to be big for us. And the key word there is big, that I think can really help us. And then we did have a few of the more ball control skill players show up at tryouts for us that I think can help us. And then obviously, I don't know if the rest of the league knows this or if our fans know this, but Ryan Kenny actually set for the Tennessee Tyrants out in Utah. And he's a Freedom guy. So him being a part of Freedom this year is huge. I'm really excited about that because he's a great setter, really good leader, very calm, cool, and collect. So the combination with Ron Dunn, Matt Elias, and Ryan Kenny for us is a creative, is the word I want to use, a creative three-peat for us. We have so many different dynamics with those three guys. I was just telling you kind of off air, we have our depth chart for outsides is anywhere between 14 and 16 at any given time. And then we have the odd commodity of having 11 middles. We have 9 to 11 middles in our gym.
So is there Team Freedom 1, 2, and 3 in the NBA next season?
Yeah, so and actually, I'm glad that you brought that up, because anybody who's been around Team Freedom, we have an NBA team now. We send at least a AA team to nationals every year. And then at least 2 A teams to nationals.
Wow.
The last time we had nationals in Columbus, we had 9 Team Freedoms teams there. And that's men's and women's. But
wow.
We 9 teams out. So, we've gotten a lot of support and following, and, shout out to our women's teams too, because they're so supportive. I can't wait for there to be a women's league, because they're going to crush it, man. We have such talent in this area for a women's league. An NBA women's league is something that we've talked about, and it's exciting. It's exciting. It's a good time to be a Team Freedom player, for sure.
It always is. And I mean, if anyone, you mentioned it earlier, but if somehow people in the volleyball world haven't seen, some of the incredible viral clips of, Team Freedom guys, what can they expect if they missed Utah and coming into the 2021 season? We're about 2 months out. What can we expect from the boys in blue this season?
Yeah, I have to shout out Ron Dunn and John Cunningham and, Chris Vaughn. They've done a fantastic job at making sure that gets out to the public. They've gotten those videos out. You did a great interview with them earlier this month. Those guys are so charismatic. They have so much character. I think when it comes to highlights and when it comes to Team Freedom, these guys are just being themselves. They're doing weird stuff. They're one-hand setting. They're running 31s. They're running, Bicks behind the setter. They're doing weird things or, higher level things that we're not afraid to do those things. I'm excited about the future, because with the extra ball control and with the versatility in our setting position, I think we can really do some special things. And, the most famous highlight is the one that won the Spotlight Showdown with that 31. And if you actually break down that film, it's an incredibly bad job of our opponent with the center dead and no one tracking the middle. And, from a fundamental volleyball standpoint, it's not great. But to the naked eye and to, the general public, Zebra's hit or over the net. He's banging that ball, 9-foot line. It's bouncing above the curtain. And we have so many highlights from the years. It's crazy. We went to Iceland a couple of years ago, and we have some highlights from that tournament. Matt Elias is such an explosive setter and player that he does things sometimes you're like, wait, that guy's a setter? Yeah. And now we have guys in our gym like Ian Cap, who is a setter himself, and he goes out to Utah and he does really well at the outside position. And it's like, great versatility. We
Perfect.
Want like that. Yeah. So as far as highlights go, I don't think we're ever looking for them. I think these guys are just being themselves, going out there and having fun with it.
I love it. Hey, well, I want to thank you so much for stopping by. The last thing right before we go, how can NVA fans follow and stay involved with Team Freedom? Where are they going to find you guys at?
Yeah, absolutely. So first thing is we just had a store. If anybody's looking to buy some Team Freedom gear, we're going to open the store again in a couple months. We have Instagram, Facebook, everything that you can imagine, and email. I want to encourage fans to reach out because I get some fan mail sometimes that's like, hey, when's the next Freedom practice? I'd love to come watch. We just had a guy reach out to us that's, trying to get his chiropractor license. And he's like, hey, can I just come do some stretches with your guys? And I love stuff like that. So please feel free. We want to engage with our fans. And the most important thing is follow the NVA YouTube. If you guys are watching this, go like and subscribe, because the more followers we get on there, the better information we can get out to all you guys about the upcoming stuff. And we have some really exciting things happening in the NBA. With 10 teams this year. Nick, obviously, you're doing a fantastic job getting this stuff out.
Appreciate it.
Please follow this stuff because we have so many cool things happening this year.
Also, and you didn't say it, Team Freedom has an awesome YouTube channel, guys. Just check that out as well. Don't miss that. But Justin, like I said, I want to thank you so much, not only for stopping by, but for everything you do with Team Freedom and everything you do for the NBA. Guys, do not miss out. Team Freedom is a group of guys to watch in the 2021 season, and they are absolutely in the running for that first place. Do not miss out. Thanks again, Justin.
Appreciate it, Nick. Thanks, man. Be well. Cheers.
I'm excited to see how the offseason changes that Team Freedom have made play out on the court. Be sure to tune in next Monday, February 22nd, as the Ontario Matadors are showcased in Episode 4 of Quest for the Cup.